Alright, welcome to round 7 of the FRL Division 1 Championship. Here we are at Singapore getting ready for an exciting race. So, we just finished up qualifying a little bit ago with Alpine securing a front row lockout with Max Verstappen leading Ghostly on the front row. Wolford just behind along with Envy. These four drivers have been proving very rapid throughout the season. I have a feeling the competition is only going to heat up between the four of them. But this night is going to be much cooler, of course, especially after a very wet qualifying. Still, it certainly shook up the grid, to say the least. We do have a couple late joiners. Sebi and Tonic were both not here during qualifying, but they joined here now at the back of the grid for the race to get underway soon enough. But as long as we're on the formation lap, let's take a look at the tire strategy. Hard tires for the most part, with a few medium runners being Henny, Skidlot, Fred, Taylor Boss, Pink, as well as Semi and Tonic, with two soft runners being Knockoff and Extra Saucy. Now there's predictive pit stop strategy. Hard medium is honestly the best way to go. But as for Pop and Saucy, if they manage their tires well and a safety car comes out early, then they could be in a very good spot in terms of strategy. And while considering this is Singapore and it's a street circuit, I have a feeling a safety car is nothing short of inevitable. Now this track, it is difficult to overtake on despite having 3 DRS zones. It's a very tight street circuit with plenty of sharp turns and plenty of barriers, as you can see right now, which means you gotta be very careful and measured in your overtaking, because if you get over-eager even a little, you could see yourself going over into the wall. So that's the last thing you need to happen around here, because, well, pit stop around here, it's decently long. Was that an AlphaTauri that hit the wall there for a moment? Oh, yep. There it is. And I think that's Ando as well, or is that Envy? Nope, that's Ando. The drivers are just spinning out. I guess they're just trying to warm up their tires? I'm unsure as to what is going on here. And that's the two Mercedes just spinning around as well. Oh, and Sugi just completely misses grid slot. Yep, he's gonna get disqualified as well. Well, not for the race, but just from the formation lap. But here we go. 5 red lights are going to be coming on here. And the streets of Singapore. It is lights out, and away we go. A pretty good start from Max Verstappen, but an even better one from Ghostly, who surges into the lead into turn 1. And, oh, that is a collision there. Skid is pushed off all the way down towards the back. Oh, that's unfortunate for Skid. He was completely caught out in an incident there. 3 wide into turn 1 is the last thing you need to happen, as Slayer is out, causing a bit of a traffic jam, and on the racing line, that's probably going to be a safety car. Well, as I said, a bit of a rough start, but like I said, if Saucy and Napop could manage it well, they'd have a very good advantage here. And, well, they've already just gotten that advantage that they were looking for. Skid is, well, he's going to be displeased, to put it mildly, is what happened there. Zip, I think, may have spun out, but Sketchy Bull is entirely missing his front wing after getting caught out at the start as well. Plenty of chaos, and actually, it looks like it was only a VSC and not a full. So we could be getting back underway soon. Actually, speaking of, there it is, green flag. We're already back into racing, and Henny's going to send it on the outside of Sugi, really squeezing him there as they bank wheels. And I think Henny just might put himself ahead. The two still keeping alongside going to the next corner. Henny has to go wide, but now he's got the inside line. That's going to give him enough of an advantage to put himself ahead. Sugi looking to fight it back, though. Can't, however. That was a very good reaction by Henny on the restart, managing to make a good overtake. But Sugi is keeping in very close touch right now. They'll be looking for a chance to fight back as soon as possible. Speaking of, he's going to send it right now, I think. And he's going to take the inside line to give him that advantage into turn 1, really putting the squeeze on Sugi there. And Sugi had to back out. Meanwhile, a little bit further behind, Taylor Boss just sent it on Ando going into the next turn. Can he put himself ahead of Ando? I think he can. Looks like he's got a little bit more straight line speed than him right now. Manages to put himself now into 8th. Meanwhile, Napop is putting in plenty of pace using these soft tires. Pink is still keeping in very close touch, though. I think if any driver, well, like I said before, Pink, he struggled in qualifying, not even making it into Q2. But as I said before in qualifying, if anyone can make a comeback drive, it's Pink. And he's already up to 11th, and we're barely on lap 2. Meanwhile, Taylor Boss is eyeing up to make up another position here, trying to fight Sugi. And nearly made the move. Meanwhile, Jim manages to make the move on Saucy, who bangs Sevi into the wall there. Now we're going to be going on to lap 3. DRS will be enabled. Ghostly is still leading his teammate Max, who now puts in the fastest lap, but now Wolver puts in that fastest lap. I have a feeling we're about to see a clash between the two teammates as we go on to the next DRS straight. And DRS should be enabled for them all. And this is going to be close. Saucy gets a 3-second time penalty now for multiple warnings as he makes his way into the pits. But here we go down the straight. Actually, I think we may have a bit of a team order there. Max has just been cleared to go past Ghostly, and I think Ghostly's now going to play a bit of a defensive game for his teammate, holding back Wolfer for a little while. Oh, and I think that may be the exact play that they have in mind there. You can see Ghostly braking just a little bit earlier to force Wolfer to back off a little more. But I have a feeling we're going to see these three battling out through the remainder of the race. Meanwhile, Pink is keeping in very close touch with Ando. Ando needs to keep a hold of DRS, but I think he may have just lost that range he needed. Pink will soon be able to make a move on him, I think. And he's going to get much better traction. Even without DRS, I think Pink could have made the move, but that DRS is going to make it even easier for him. As Yeti crashes out of the race, that is going to be a full safety car. Well, this is certainly shaking things up. Honestly, considering the gap Napop has, it wouldn't be the worst idea to maybe go ahead and switch off these softs now. And actually, yep, he's going to do just that. He is going to make his way in. Probably get a set of hards. Well, actually, maybe even a medium set would be better. But yeah, like I said, he does have plenty of gap. He would only lose a position or two. And looks like it is the hard tire choice. Now, if he manages his tires right, hypothetically, he could make it to the end of that set. Although, preferably, I would rather not. Well, if I were him, that is. And Saucy gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. He's going to have to make his way into the pits as soon as the safety car ends. He can't do it now because, well, while the safety car is under effect, you cannot serve a drive-through. Which makes sense because, well, under a safety car, the drive-through would not be nearly as severe. But Sketchy Bull is going to drive through. That is to get a set of tires and not to serve a penalty. Looks like he's already prepping a set of hard tires. Oh wait, actually that may have been the set that he had on earlier, it looks like? Yes, it does. So at the moment, the top 5 has remained mostly the same. Henny doing well to put himself in 5th right now, but he's going to have tough opposition in Sugi, who is proving to be very rapid right now, and I think will want to try and fight towards the front. I think he's got the pace for it as well. But safety car isn't going to come in anytime soon, it looks like, with all the traffic backed up, because we still got the Alfa Romeo zip all the way back there. Actually, I think that's not Pop making his way around as Jim makes his way into the pits. And he is making his way in. Looks like he needed a new front wing. Though it didn't look like there was any damage. There must have been very minor damage. Still, better to get that damage control before it gets out of control. That's exactly what he did. And he'll still be only about 16th, so not the worst situation. Okay, just got a hold of a little bit of information. So, Jim tried to pit earlier, but the pit crew, for some reason, just decided not to change the front wing, even though he had yellow damage. But he had to go in again to make sure that it was fixed. And meanwhile, Jim's teammate is gaping very close. Is he trying to overtake him right now? Actually, if they catch up in time, safety car could go in this lap without Zipman. For the moment, I think it would be a little bit too late to make that call, so we are indeed going to have another lap of safety car. Okay, and Zip should be caught up in time for the safety car to come in this lap, and we're going to get back underway for some racing. Now, Max is going to be leading him off the start, and luckily for him, he's got his teammate right behind, so if they coordinate well off the restart and time it well together, the two of them can make a very quick getaway. And not to mention Max, he's in a very good position with his teammate serving as a rear gunner, and I gotta say, if you want a rear gunner, this is one of the best ones out there. Ghostly can absolutely defend like a lion, and I have a feeling we're gonna see a battle between Wolfer and Ghostly, quite like the likes of Simba and Scar from The Lion King. Although, I wonder in that situation who would be the hyenas? I guess the hyenas would be everybody else behind if one of them spins out or crashes. And yep, safety car is coming in. So we're finally going to have a restart and be able to get back to some racing. Saucy overtaking Not Pop there, I guess. Oh, because Not Pop went off the track. Oh, that would explain why. Alright, so here we go. These drivers trying to warm up their tires a little bit, but I'm feeling they're going to remain a little cold. But Max is going to be leading them off and pulls away pretty well, bringing along his teammate. Did anyone else see that? I hope someone else saw that, because that was a little bit scary. I've seen that glitch a little bit, where if a car comes into the pit, it'll just randomly teleport. Oh, wait, Envy's out? Drive-through penalties? What is happening? Taylor Boss teleported out of the pits? What is happening? Not Pop is driving like he's in the pits, but he's not. He's off the... I am so terrified of what's happening right now. But Sketchy Bull has retired in the pits. It looks like Not Pop is going to try and keep going, as well as Taylor Boss. Meanwhile, Ghostly is showing very good pace. He might even be trying to fight his teammate a little bit here. The two have pulled very well away from Wolfer, who's trying to put himself back in touch. Meanwhile, the three of them have actually pulled a massive gap already on Henny and Sugi. Sugi, I imagine, getting a little bit frustrated. He wants to find a way through and get into the fight with those front runners. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Oh, Sugi crashed, it looks like, or at the very least spun. That's going to put him down all the way into 10th, barely within the points. Well, here we go into lap 8. No DRS just yet, but we'll get that on lap 9. So for now, overtaking is going to be quite difficult. You would need to have significantly more pace than the car ahead of you to pull off an overtake. And Jim seems to be pretty fast at the moment, but Zip is catching up to Fred as well. Going down the straight, Jim is getting plenty of speed, but Zip is just matching him here. Zip is going to have enough speed to maybe fight up here. But meanwhile, Saucy actually goes really wide there. Bumps into the back of the Mercedes, nearly hitting Sugi there, having to back off a little bit. That could have been a very nasty punt, but Saucy was careful enough to back off there. Meanwhile, do we have 3 wide back there? We did for a moment. Jim looking to get ahead of 2 cars here, and he succeeds in that. Meanwhile, we have Pink up now to P5, but he's got Zebby chasing right behind. Meanwhile, Zip manages to get ahead of Fred going into the next turn, and Fred seems to have a lot of downforce on at the moment. That's costing him a lot in terms of straight line speed. And so he's losing out massively on the straights, and plenty of drivers are overtaking him there, and Fred is getting penalty after penalty due to track limits. So DRS is now enabled. Ghostly is nearly out of range of his teammate there, and he's going to want to keep a hold of DRS to defend from Wolfer, who is going to get plenty of it. Meanwhile, Stubby's going to get a run of DRS, but looks like Pink has a lot of straight line speed here. That's giving him a good advantage. Sugi, though, will have enough pace to maybe fight Skid here. He's going to look for a move on the inside, going in deep. Oh, they collide there. I think Skid could have afforded to have left a little more space, but that's unfortunate for Sugi. Meanwhile, looks like Jim has it. Okay, that was Interesting there. These drivers are getting a little bit close here. Jim got a penalty, though, for collision with Zip. I have no idea what happened there, then. But Jim's connection, I think he may be lagging a little bit. You can see him kind of surging back and forth a little bit. Meanwhile, Sebby surges ahead of Pink to take a hold of 5th place now. And at the same time, Sugi manages to make a move around the outside to get ahead of Skid. And here we are now. Wolfer is getting very close to Ghostly here. Perhaps close enough to maybe attempt a move. Yellow flag in Sector 3. That is softly hitting the wall. But we also have Geo making his way to the pits. Fred spun around the final corner. His front wing is entirely gone. And meanwhile, Ghostly is actually out of DRS range. That isn't good for him, but we also have a VSC. No, a full safety car again. Actually, this could pan out well for the medium runners. This would be a great time to go in, get that set of hards, and finish out the race on that set. As for the hard runners, I mean, I don't think they have much of a choice but to stay out. Because the mediums, I don't know if they could make it 21 laps. I mean, sure, you'll have a few laps in their safety car. If you play your cards right, it's doable, but I don't know. If I were them, I would want to play a little bit more safe and maybe bank on a late safety car. So the gap that Henny, Sebby, and Pink would have, they would only lose a couple positions, really. It would not be a bad strategy at all. So what is the game plan for these drivers? This is going to be a critical moment in terms of strategy. Looks like Ghostly was doing a little bit of a debate there on Wolfer. Wolfer was completely unfazed. He was already set on his strategy, I think, and Henny is going to go in. Sebby as well. I have a feeling Pink is going to follow suit. Yes, indeed. And we'll choose to stay out as well as Sugi, Skid, and Jim will most likely go in as well. And Saucy gets another drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So at the moment, in terms of strategy, I would say, unless there's another safety car happens, the top 5, along with Zip, are at a pretty bad disadvantage. I would say Nopop, Fred, Saucy, and Geo are also at a disadvantage. But meanwhile, Henny, Sebby, Pink, Skid, Jim, and probably Taylor as well, are in a pretty good spot in terms of strategy. Now, if a late safety car does occur, Then Max Ghostly, Wolfer, Endo, and Sugi will all be in a fantastic spot. But it really all depends on how the rest of this race plays out. Oh, really, it would be in Henny's best interest to try and overtake maybe a couple of the top 5, and so guarantee a potential podium for AlphaTauri. Yeah, I think we may have another lap in safety car, and then we'll finally be able to get going again. Yep, we are going to have just one more lap. Everybody should be caught up by numbers waiting on Gio and Taylor. And apparently Gio is deciding to make his way into the pits. Is he serving a penalty, or does he just want to get all the softs? Looks like he's just getting off the soft tires. Actually, you know, if he manages his tires well, those mediums could make it to the end. Especially if another safety car happens, that would save him a lot on tire wear. Alright, there's the confirmation from race control. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Max is going to be leading them off, but he's going to once again have his teammate right behind him. But we do have a couple change factors now. Sugi's put himself into the top 5. And I imagine, if given the chance to get past Bando, he's going to want to take the fight to Wolfer. And while Wolfer cannot afford to get into a fight with Sugi because he's got to get past these two Alpines if he hopes to win. So here we go. Max needs to jump well off the start, and he does just that. But Wolfer reacts really well, keeping up just fine. Sugi, meanwhile, I think he's going to try and send it on Ando, but he's going to have to remain behind for now. Meanwhile, Debbie's going to send it on the inside of Zip, and a little bit further behind. Fred gets overtaken by his teammate, and now Taylor Boss is going to be looking to making a move perhaps. And further up ahead, Zip gets ahead of Sebi. But I think Sebi's going to want to fight it back here. He's got a little more straight line speed, but I think you have a collision near the back. Yep, Saucy gets spun out. And he's got a broken front wing. He crashes into the wall, and he's out. Meanwhile, wait. Something is happening to Max. He's completely spun out. Now Ghostly is leading the race with Wolfer chasing behind. Ando is holding on to third, Henny ahead of Suki, now in fourth. Suddenly, in mere moments, this entire race has flipped around. Well, this is not good for Max at all. He needs to try and make his way back into the points. At the moment, he is leading the championship by about 21 points. But, his closest rival, Envy, is DNF'd as well. But Ping has put himself in a very nice position because now he's in second. Wait, Ghostly in the pits, as well as Wolfer. This is the strategy that they need to pull. I guess they're deciding to go in now. And now Henny is leading the race. Ping second, Skid third, Jim currently running in fourth, Not Pop running in fifth along with Taylor, Gia, Fred, Wolfer now coming up with Sugi chasing right behind him now, and Ghostly stuck behind them with Ando, Zip, and finally Max limbing his way in. Well, now back out. But we actually have a full safety car, no wonder they went in. Actually, Pink is in a very good spot right now. At the moment, he's third in the driver's standings. Penny is actually fourth right now. And so, depending on how this plays out, Pink could potentially bump himself up to second if he gets maximum points. Because Envy is not here. He was. Until he unfortunately DNF'd. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out going towards the end. One thing's for sure though, if the safety car happens about, say, 7 laps from now, everybody's going in for a set of soft tires. But these hard tires, they will absolutely make it to the end, no problem. No need to try and manage your tires at all for the hard runners, they can go 100%. The medium runners will probably have to manage a little by the end, but at the moment this is a pretty good scenario for them. Maybe if the safety car was a couple laps later, that would be the most ideal, but yep. Safety car will not come in this lap because Max is just a little bit too far behind, so we're going to have one more lap under the safety car before we resume. Alright, there is a confirmation from race control. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Alright, so Henny's going to be leading them off the start. He needs to play this well and try to make a getaway as far as he can, because Pink is going to be coming up really fast. Actually, Henny is sending it right now. I think that may have not been the best restart, but it certainly was a good one. Pink is actually waiting a little bit, trying to warm up his tires. Henny doing the same as we get back underway. Meanwhile, Wolfer is actually going to make a move on the outside of Fred, and he manages to succeed. Sugi looking to do the same right behind, and does manage to pull it off. Fred actually completely backing out there. I have a feeling he just didn't want to get involved in all that. Wait, that's Ando, who crashed into the wall and broke his front wing. Meanwhile, Jim is looking to get alongside Skid. Can't get alongside, though. He's going to have to remain behind. At the same time, we have Taylor Boss and Not Pop there. And that's Gio getting ahead of the both of them. Not Pop and Taylor banging wheels there for a moment, as now Wolfer's eyeing up a move, but he gets bumped in the back a little bit. A little bit of lag going on as well. Wolfer surging ahead with Ghostly chasing right behind. And now Sugi's going to get caught up a little bit behind Not Pop. He's going to want to find his way through very soon. Ghostly keeping in very close touch with Wolfer. Meanwhile, Ping is putting in all the speed he has. He wants to overtake here. And Ghostly has actually spun and hit the wall. Oh, that's unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, Sugi manages to put himself ahead of Not Pop momentarily. Not Pop doing his best to keep alongside, but going into the corner, Sugi manages to complete the move. Max looking to make up for some lost time and lost ground. He's now in the points and is looking to chase after Not Pop and get past. Wolfer has now pulled a very nice gap for himself and is on the hunt. I think he still has a win on the table, but it's going to be a tough fight to get through all of these drivers. One thing's for sure, Taylor is going to defend tooth and nail, but I don't know how much defense he's going to be able to put up once we get down this straight. I think Wolfer is a little bit stronger than him in that regard. You can see Wolfer got a little bit more traction out of the exit. That toe is really strong, and so is that straight line speed. Getting on the inside, he manages to complete the move and get up into 6th. Now, he's going to be chasing after Gio. But Gio is on mediums, who's only just a little bit older. So I think Wolfer is going to have a bit of a tougher time compared to much older hards. At the same time, Ping is keeping right behind Henny. I think Henny really wants to get this win. He hasn't gotten a win this season yet, at least in Division 1, so this is going to be a great opportunity for him. But Ping, I think, is going to look to add another one to his name. And it's going to be an interesting fight between these two. Meanwhile, Max completes the move on Not Pop, but Not Pop collides with him. Oh, that is not good. Max is now further behind. Did Not Pop hit him there? Did Max hit him? That's... Oh, man. I'm actually unsure. I feel like Max kind of forced him there, but maybe Not Pop should have backed out. I guess stewards will have to review that one. But DRS is now enabled, and that's not good news for Henny, because Pink is right behind and proving to be very rapid. Wolfer and now Sugi sets the fastest lap. Sugi's going to want to find a way through Taylor as soon as possible if he hopes to potentially challenge Wolfer. Oh, but Sugi gets a crucial time penalty, crucial in Wolfer's favor, that is. And that is going to do him a lot of favors. Now Skid is looking to make a move on the outside of Pink. He manages to nearly succeed. They're still going side by side. Now into the bridge. He has to back out. And he got a little bit of snap of oversteer. Jim, Geo, and Wolver are all right behind, looking to potentially make a move. I have a feeling this next straight is going to be important, but we do have a DRS train here. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to make a move. Never mind. I thought there was going to be a crazy amount of overtakes, but I was mistaken. Ghostly is now set the fastest lap of the race. And Max succeeds in getting ahead of Napop. Napop, though, looking to fight it back and manages to complete the move. Max is looking, he's just looking for any way to get past him right now. Kill flag in Sector 1. I think that's Ghostly who spun again. This is unfortunate for Alpine. They had such an incredible start, did so well for so long, but now it's just all completely fallen apart. Oh, that's Fred who was just spun. Nando's going to be coming up fast. Meanwhile, checking in with everybody, Wolver is actually getting caught out, stuck behind Geo and Jim, and that's allowing Sugi to slowly but surely close the gap to him. Oh, yellow flag, and that's Fred who spun again. Now Henny's in a very good spot right now, as if things keep playing out the way they currently are. But I have a feeling, well, honestly, if this DRS train continues, Wolfer is going to be stuck. He can't really find a way through right now, and he needs to while his mediums are still running hot. Otherwise, well, when they die out, and they probably will within the next few laps, then he's going to be stuck where he is. And not to mention, he still has Sugi rapidly gaining and nearly within DRS range. Actually, I think Sugi may have just gotten close enough to get a hold of that DRS he needs. Nope, he's just outside of range, but now Wolver is going to have a great chance to make a move. He's going to go on the inside of Geo, and can he get ahead? He's at the inside, so he's at a bit of a disadvantage, but it's going to be close here. He has to back out for a moment, but now Wolver's going to have the inside line, and that's what he needs to finally complete the move. A very good overtake by him. And now Sugi's going to eye up a move on the outside of Geo, but he's going to back out. But now Geo goes very wide. This is going to give Sugi a great opportunity to sneak his way past. Now Jim is going to have to defend from Wolfer while trying to get past Skid. Now, if Wolfer does get past Jim, I have a feeling Skid is just going to let him through. Because, I mean, well, that's if they do team orders here. Which I do think it would be in best interest for the team. Of course, I mean, Skid would be losing out on a podium, though. So, you know, it depends. But I do think Wolfer will have the pace here to maybe try and move, but Jim is keeping a hold of that DRS, and that is giving him plenty of help. And the more this goes on, the more of a gap is forming, and the better chance Henny has of potentially winning this race. And Ghostly gets a time penalty for multiple warnings. Meanwhile, Wolver, he's got plenty of speed here. He's going to try and look for a chance, but can't find a way through just yet. This is bad news for him because now he's got Sugi right behind, and he's been showing very good pace right now. I think he could find his way through soon. It's a battle between these 4 cars for that last podium spot at the moment. But if Wolver can find a way through, potentially he could have victory on his hands. But getting through seems to be much easier said than done, because he's just getting caught in a DRS train right now. And well, I think we're about to have another couple of cars hook up to this train. Gio and Zib are now also in range. But looks like Sugi's going to try a move on the outside of Wolver. Nearly succeeds, but can't pull it off. And that's not good for Wolver. He's lost a good amount of time for that and nearly lost DRS range, but manages to stay just within. And that is going to cost him a lot. Sugi is fighting tooth and nail here to try and overtake Wolfer. And as I said before, that's the last thing he needs right now. He can't afford to be fighting the drivers behind him if he hopes to win this. Wolver needs to race pretty much perfectly here. He can't afford to make a single mistake, because if he makes even a minor one, Sugi will be right on him. The more this goes on, the bigger the gap forms, and the more Wolver's chances of winning are slipping away. And, I think that may have been Max, or no, it was Ghostly who may have hit the wall there. Meanwhile, Wolver's gonna have the best chance he's had yet to potentially make a move. He's trying to find an opening on the outside, but he just can't find it. He's trying everything he can here, but he's managing to put a wheel alongside, but has to back out here. But that did compromise Jim's entrance into the corner, but still, Wolver can't find a way through. Still, him throwing Jim off a little bit may have nearly cost Jim DRS range. If that happens, Wolver can't find a way through. Essentially, Wolver's doing what Sugi tried to do to him previously. But Jim manages to stay just within range, keep a hold of that DRS that he so sorely needs right now. And I'd say it's about now the medium tires will start to show a little bit of signs of struggle. So, Wolver's really running out of time. He needs to make this move in the next couple laps, or otherwise I don't think he's got a chance of winning here. Even still, he can't find a way through. Jim is defending as hard as he possibly can right now. And meanwhile, who was that hit the wall? That was Max! As Ghostly now sets the fastest lap of the race. And now he's at the point as well. Wait, and who is that? Not Pop! He's crashed! He's out of the section! That might trigger a full safety car, and it has! This has just changed the course of the entire race. If I were Henny, I'd pit. And he is going to go in. Hank is going to go in. Pretty much everybody's going to go in. Wait. Oh! Skid has gotten a drive-through penalty for speeding under his safety car! Wolfer is going to choose to stay out. I think that may have been a costly mistake. Sugi is also choosing to stay out, though, so Wolfer has a bit of a buffer here. Wolver and Sugi are making quite the gamble here. Skid is actually just going to retire from the session. He's just going to retire in the pits. I think once he got a drive-through penalty, he just thought, you know what, I give up. Which is a shame, because I think he still could have gotten points. Actually, no. Because everybody would have caught up. And, yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty risky move by Wolfer and Sugi. They're both choosing to stay out, and they're going to be on old mediums versus everybody else on fresh, soft tires. So Wolfer is going to have to put in maximum defense if he hopes to claim victory. And granted, he does have Sugi behind, but I mean, how hard will Sugi fight here? He does have a penalty. So, I mean, either way, I think he's out of a podium. So if Sugi can take the fight to Wolfer and slow him down, it could give some of the drivers behind an opportunity to overtake. And to be fair, they are all on fresh, soft tires, while Wolfer and Sugi will be on very aged mediums. But it's going to take a little bit of time for everybody to catch up, however. We probably won't resume until... Well, actually, I think everybody could catch up in time for us to resume on the next lap. Which means, once the safety car restarts... Well, once the safety car comes in, that is, and we have that restart, we'll only have 5 laps of racing remaining. Well, I have to say this has been a pretty disappointing race for Ferrari. Both drivers out. Lando, interestingly enough, choosing to stay out. Either that or he just hasn't had a chance to go into the pits yet. If I were him, I would certainly get a set of soft tires on. Max actually has a chance to make a pretty good comeback here. He'll need to make it count, though. Actually, both Alpines could pull this off. Alright, confirmation from race control. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Wolver and Sugi will be leading them off the start. But it's going to be a difficult one because we have a bunch of fresh soft runners right behind the two front runners. No mistakes can be made from either of them. And Wolver is going to be leading them off. He gets away decently well, but Sugi's keeping close as well as Henny. And the rest of the field is also coming up fast as well. And speaking of, that's Taylor looking to make a move on the outside of Jim. Can't complete it though, he's going to have to back out. Oh, and Henny actually does complete the move. He gets ahead of Sugi momentarily, but Sugi bangs wheels with him there. But it doesn't matter, Sugi hits the wall and hits Pink. Sugi is out of the race, and I have a feeling Pink may have damage as he drops down a few margins there. And he's going to lose yet another position now to Jim. Well, I imagine Sugi is more than a little bit upset considering what happened, but I do think Pink has damage because he's losing a lot of positions here. Meanwhile, Henny is on the chase after Wolver. He's going to have fresh soft, giving him a massive advantage here with the time remaining. A win could be in the palm of Henny's hands, but Zib is actually in a good spot as well. He could be getting a podium for Alfa Romeo, but there's a huge pileup in the back. Nearly everybody's been caught up by it. Oh, that is extremely unfortunate. But that massive gap has now put this battle only between the top three at this point. Wait, and Gio's out of the race as well. So, Fred could be getting points for Williams. Max manages to complete the move on Pink. I do think he's suffering from damage, and I think he is. His teammate is suffering even worse, though. And that's Taylor Boss and Ghostly making their way in. Ando's gonna stay out, though. And I think Fred may be trying to unlap himself, perhaps. Meanwhile, Henny is massively closing the gap on Henny, with Zip also coming in quickly. You can see here, I think it may have been a mistake on Wolver's end to do that. But then again, if he did pit, he probably would have been caught up in that pileup. Oh, and Jim has actually crashed. He's out of the race. But it's a little bit too late for a safety car now. But after all of that, Max is now P4. But how many penalties does he have? Okay, only 3 seconds. Max is still going to get potentially 4th here. Suddenly this race is entirely flipped on its head once again. In the moment here, we have the 3 contenders for victory here. Wolfer, Henny, and Zip. But DRS will be enabled this lap, and it hasn't been already. And this is going to be essential. Yep, there's DRS enabled. This is going to be Henny's golden opportunity, but he's only going to have 2 laps of DRS to pull this off. He's going to have to absolutely send it if he wants to get ahead of the McLaren and take the lead of this race. This is it. He's going to get a very good run here. Will it be good enough to get alongside the McLaren? He's getting a lot of speed here, but he's going to have to remain behind. You can see here, he's even closer than he was before. Gets a snap of oversteer. Has to back off. Zip doing his best to keep in touch. Henny doing his best to keep in touch with Wolver here. Wolver just needs to defend as best he can. And he's got more ERS than Henny here, actually. But at the same time, Wolver seems to be compromising his line just a little bit. Henny can just keep close enough. This might be his best chance yet. You can see he gets a little bit more traction. He's getting plenty of speed, but not enough to make the move. Henny is still keeping right behind. Wolfer cannot afford to make a single mistake because Henny will be there to capitalize on it. And of course, Zip is still keeping in a very close touch here. So here we go. This is it. This is going to be Henny's last shot as we go into the final lap. Henny's going to get plenty of speed here, but still not close enough. Wolfer's burning everything he has left here in order to keep himself ahead of the AlphaTauri. And really, I think it's going to be this next straight that is going to decide it. But Henny had a bit of a struggle there. This is going to be it. So, does Henny have the straight line speed to overtake the McLaren? I don't think he does. I think this may have just decided it. Wolfer, I think, has victory within his grasp. Meanwhile, Taylor Boss is the fastest lap of the race. And he's still keeping close, but I think his best chance to overtake has already been passed. He still has one final shot down here, and he's keeping close, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Wolfer managed to put in enough work to make that move happen, but Zip, I think he might be eyeing up a potential P2 if he can see his way past Henny. But with this remaining part of the track, I don't think it's happening. At this point, the race has pretty much been decided. Henny, he put up a very stellar fight, but defending like a lion and winning this race, it is our Wolfer for McLaren taking the checkered flag here at Singapore. Followed up by Henny, Zip, and Max Verstappen actually coming in fourth, making a pretty good comeback drive after all the chaos. He's still going to get a good haul of points, but will not be on the podium. I think this has been the first time in a while where we see no Alpine on the podium. Ando's going to make his way across. Now Pink is going to make his way across to take 6th and a 5th. Pink's teammate Taylor will be coming in 7th, bringing home a good haul of points for Aston Martin. Ghostly 8th and Fred 9th, bringing home a couple points for Williams. Actually, I think Ghostly may be trying to put in one more fast lap to try and take home one more point for Alpine. And I think he's going to be able to pull it off. And Ghostly's going to cross the line. That is going to be the end of the Singapore Grand Prix. And Zip gets a pretty well-earned driver of the day, bringing home a podium for Alfa Romeo. And that is a spectacular victory for Wolfer. That is going to bring him a fantastic haul of points. And I'm sure he's going to be very thrilled with that result. And said result will allow him to put himself potentially ahead of Henny in the standings. Nope, not quite. But all points like that is going to put him in much closer contention with the top of the field. Well, that's going to be the end of yet another exciting race. Just twists and turns throughout. You had no idea what was going to happen next. But we did want to know what's going to be coming up next week. We'll be seeing you all as we make our way to Hungary. So we'll be seeing you all then. I've been Mock Mage. I'll be seeing you all next time.